Before money as we know it existed, trade was a very different affair. In ancient India, as in many early civilizations, people relied on the barter system. Imagine you were a farmer with a surplus of grain. You might trade that grain directly for pottery, tools, or cloth from a local craftsman. This system worked well in small, tight-knit communities. Everyone knew the value of goods and services. However, it had its limits. What if the potter didn't need your grain? Finding someone who had what you wanted and wanted what you had could be a real challenge. This is what economists call the double coincidence of wants, and it made large-scale trade incredibly difficult and inefficient. To solve this problem, people began using intermediate commodities. Things like cattle or specific quantities of grain became a standard measure of value, but these were not ideal. Cattle could get sick, and grain could spoil. A more durable and portable solution was needed. This is where metal came in. Pieces of metal, particularly silver, started to be used as a medium of exchange. These weren't coins yet. They were simply pieces of metal, often ingots or bent bars, that were weighed for each transaction. This was a huge step forward. Metal was durable, divisible, and had intrinsic value. These early metal forms of currency were prevalent across the Indian subcontinent long before the first true coins appeared. Archaeological finds from the Indus Valley civilization hint at standardized weights, suggesting a sophisticated system for regulating trade. Later, during the Vedic period, texts mention units of value like the nishka and satamana, which were likely specific weights of gold or silver. These were not stamped with any official mark of authority. Their value came purely from the weight and purity of the metal. If you wanted to make a purchase, you would weigh the metal on a scale. It was a practical but slow process, still reliant on trust and the accuracy of scales. This system of using weighed metal laid the essential groundwork for coinage. It accustomed people to the idea of using a precious metal as a universal medium of exchange. The concept of value being tied to a specific weight of silver or gold was now firmly established. The only missing piece was a guarantee, a mark of authority that would certify the weight and purity of the metal, removing the need to weigh it for every single transaction. This final revolutionary step was just around the corner. It would transform commerce, politics, and society across ancient India forever. The stage was set for the arrival of the first Indian coins. Around the 6th century BCE, a revolutionary idea took hold in India. This was the birth of coinage. The earliest Indian coins are known as punch-marked coins, and they were a game-changer. Instead of weighing irregular pieces of metal for every trade, these coins came with a guarantee. They were typically small, irregularly shaped pieces of silver, known as karshapanas. What made them special were the symbols punched onto their surface. These marks were stamped by a trusted authority, likely the local janapadas, or small kingdoms, or mahajanapadas, the great kingdoms that were flourishing across the northern Indian plains at the time. These coins did not have any written text or portraits. Their language was one of symbols. A typical punch-marked coin might have 5 or more distinct marks. These symbols included geometric patterns, animals like elephants and bulls, and celestial signs like the sun or a 6-armed symbol. Each symbol likely represented something important. It could have been the emblem of the issuing kingdom, the mark of a controlling guild, or a sign from the official who verified the coin's quality. This system allowed for a degree of control and standardization that was previously impossible. People could now trust the value of a coin just by looking at its marks. The production of these coins was beautifully simple. A sheet of silver was prepared and cut into pieces of a specific weight. Each piece, called a flan, was then placed on an anvil. Using a hammer and a set of punches, artisans would strike the symbols onto the metal. Because the punches were applied individually, no two punch-marked coins are exactly alike. The shape is often irregular, and the symbols can overlap. This gives them a wonderfully rustic and unique character. Their circulation was vast, spreading along the great trade routes of ancient India, from Gandhara in the northwest to Magadha in the east. The rise of punch-marked coins coincided with a period of great change. This was the age of the Buddha and Mahavira. Cities were growing, and trade was expanding rapidly. These coins were the fuel for this economic engine. They simplified tax collection for powerful rulers, like those of the Magadhan Empire, and made long-distance trade much easier. For the first time, a standardized currency connected different parts of the subcontinent. This innovation was not just about making trade easier, it was a tool of state power. It announced the authority of the issuer and helped unify their realm economically. The era of coinage in India had truly begun. For several centuries, the symbolic language of punch-marked coins and local cast copper coins dominated Indian numismatics. But in the 2nd century BCE, a dramatic change arrived from the northwest. After the campaigns of Alexander the Great, his successors established Hellenistic kingdoms in Central Asia. One of these, the Greco-Bactrian kingdom, expanded into northern India, creating what we now call the Indo-Greek kingdoms. These rulers brought with them a completely different tradition of coinage. It was a tradition rooted in Greek realism and the celebration of the individual ruler. This would forever alter the face of Indian money. The most striking innovation of the Indo-Greeks was the portrait. For the first time, coins in India featured realistic and often highly artistic depictions of the ruling king. These were not generic symbols, they were lifelike images. We can see kings wearing different helmets, looking young or old, appearing as heroic figures. These portraits were a powerful form of propaganda. They projected the king's power, his lineage, and his personality directly into the hands of his subjects. On the reverse, the coins often depicted Greek deities like Zeus, Heracles, or Apollo, connecting the rulers to the divine pantheon of their ancestors. Another crucial development was the introduction of bilingual legends. Indo-Greek coins typically had the king's name and titles written in Greek on the obverse, the side with the portrait. On the reverse, the same information was written in a local Indian script, usually Kharosthi. This was a brilliant move. It made the coins understandable to both the Greek-speaking elite and the local Indian population. It was a clear statement of a government ruling over a diverse, multicultural society. This practice of using two scripts set a precedent that would be followed by many subsequent dynasties in the region for centuries. The influence of these coins was immense. They introduced the idea that a coin could be more than just a piece of metal with a guaranteed weight. It could be a piece of art, a historical document, and a tool for communicating a political message. The Indo-Greek kings, like Menander I, who is famous in Buddhist texts as Milinda, left behind an incredible numismatic legacy. Their coins give us the names and faces of rulers who are otherwise barely mentioned in written sources. They opened a window into this fascinating period of cultural fusion, where Greek and Indian worlds met and mingled on a small silver canvas. Following the Indo-Greeks, a wave of new powers swept into India, each leaving their unique mark on its coinage. The Indo-Scythians and Indo-Parthians continued the tradition of issuing coins with royal portraits, though often in a more stylized form. But the next great imperial power, the Kushans, took coinage to a whole new level. Originating from Central Asia, the Kushans established a vast empire in the early centuries of the Common Era, stretching from what is now Afghanistan to the Gangetic Basin. Their coins, especially the gold dinars of rulers like Kanishka the Great, are honestly some of the most fascinating in ancient history. They are a testament to the empire's wealth, power, and incredible cultural diversity. Kushan coins are famous for their remarkable pantheon of gods. While the obverse almost always featured a standing figure of the king, often shown sacrificing at a fire altar, the reverse was like a gallery of deities. These were drawn from a huge range of cultures. You can find Greek gods like Helios, Iranian deities such as Mithra and Ardoksho, and some of the earliest known depictions of Hindu gods like Shiva, referred to as Uesho and Skanda Kumara. Most significantly, the Kushans produced some of the first coin images of the Buddha, labeled as Bado. These coins really were a mirror of the Kushan Empire itself, a crossroads of cultures and religions. While the Kushans dominated the north, other powerful dynasties were issuing their own distinctive coins in the south and west. In the Deccan Plateau, the Satavahana dynasty ruled for over 3 centuries. Their coinage was very different from that of the northern invaders. They primarily issued coins in base metals like lead, potin, which is a copper alloy, and copper. Instead of Greek-style portraits, they favored local symbols. Their most common coins feature an elephant on one side and the Ujjain symbol, a cross with a circle at the end of each arm, on the other. Some rare silver coins of the Satavahanas do feature portraits, but they are highly stylized and follow a distinct Indian aesthetic. Meanwhile, in Western India, another powerful group known as the Western Kshatrapas, or Western satraps, held sway. Of Scythian origin, they ruled over a prosperous region that included what is now Gujarat. Their silver coins are famous for their consistency and historical value. For nearly 300 years, they issued coins with a crude but recognizable bust of the king on the obverse. Crucially, on the reverse, they included not only the king's name and titles, but also the name of his father, and most importantly, the year of issue in the Saka era. This makes their coins an invaluable, unbroken chronological record for the history of Western India. The period of the Gupta Empire, from the 4th to the 6th century of the Common Era, is often called the Golden Age of India, and nowhere is this more evident than in its coinage. The Guptas, particularly rulers like Samudragupta, Chandragupta II, and Kumaragupta I, issued a stunning variety of gold coins, known as dinars. These coins are widely considered the pinnacle of ancient Indian numismatic art. They moved beyond the functional designs of earlier periods to create miniature masterpieces of sculpture. The quality of the engraving, the complexity of the compositions, and the poetic Sanskrit inscriptions set them in a class of their own. Gupta coin designs celebrated the power and accomplishments of the emperor. Instead of a simple standing portrait, we see the king in a variety of dynamic poses. The archer type, showing the king holding a bow, became the most common and iconic Gupta design. But there are, honestly, many other fascinating types. The horseman type depicts the king on a magnificent steed. The lion slayer and tiger slayer types show him as a heroic hunter, proving his martial prowess. There is even an Asvamedha type, issued by Samudragupta to commemorate the ancient and prestigious horse sacrifice ceremony, a powerful symbol of imperial sovereignty. The reverse of Gupta coins is just as artistic. The most common image is of the goddess Lakshmi, seated on a lotus or a throne, holding a lotus flower and a cornucopia, a symbol of prosperity. The depiction of the goddess is graceful and quintessentially Indian in style. The coins are also notable for their high-quality Sanskrit legends, written in the Brahmi script. These are not just simple titles, they are often poetic verses, or birudas, praising the king's virtues and victories. For example, a coin of Samudragupta proclaims him as having conquered the earth. He wins heaven by his good deeds. The artistry of these gold coins was a deliberate statement. It was a projection of imperial power, divine favor, and cultural sophistication. The sheer quantity and purity of the gold used spoke of the empire's immense wealth, likely derived from control over trade routes and possibly from Roman gold flowing into India. While the Guptas also issued silver and copper coins for more local transactions, it is their gold dinars that capture the essence of the age. They are not just currency, they are a celebration of an empire at its zenith, a perfect fusion of art, religion, and political messaging. After the decline of the mighty Gupta Empire in the 6th century of the Common Era, India's political landscape fragmented. No single power could control the subcontinent. This political decentralization was directly reflected in the coinage. The era of a grand, unifying imperial currency was over. In its place, a diverse and complex pattern of regional coinage emerged. Major dynasties and smaller kingdoms across India began issuing their own coins, each with a unique identity. This period, from the 6th to the 12th century, is a rich but complicated chapter in India's numismatic story. In the north, various kingdoms like the Hunas, the Pushyabhutis of Thanisar, including the famous Emperor Harsha, and later the Gurjara Pratiharas, issued coins that were often derivations of earlier designs. Many of these were debased silver or bilon, which is a silver-copper alloy, coins that copied Sasanian or Gupta motifs, but in a progressively cruder and more stylized manner. In the south, powerful dynasties like the Chalukyas, Pallavas, and Cholas developed their own distinct coinages. The Cholas, for example, issued coins featuring a tiger, their royal emblem, alongside the fish of the Pandyas and the bow of the Cheras, symbolizing their control over the entire Tamil country. A significant development occurred in the 8th century on India's western frontier. In the year 712 of the Common Era, the Arab general Muhammad bin Qasim conquered the region of Sindh. This marked the beginning of Islamic rule in a part of India and brought with it an entirely new type of coinage. These coins, issued by the Arab governors of Sindh, were completely aniconic, meaning they had no images of people or animals, in keeping with Islamic tradition. Instead, they were purely epigraphic. They featured Arabic inscriptions, usually verses from the Quran, and a declaration of faith, along with the name of the caliph and the place and date of minting. This introduction of Islamic-style coinage in Sindh was a sign of things to come. For the next few centuries, it remained a regional phenomenon, while the rest of India continued with its diverse, image-based coin traditions. This period of medieval coinage is incredibly varied, with hundreds of local types reflecting the shifting political map. It highlights the main reasons ancient Indian coinage is so unique: its incredible diversity, its fusion of indigenous and foreign influences, and its ability to serve as a detailed chronicle of political, religious, and artistic history. From the first symbolic punches to the artistic heights of the Guptas and the arrival of epigraphic Islamic designs, Indian coins tell a story as rich and complex as the subcontinent itself.